it's Holly here from Your Past is a Gift. Alright, my sweetheart, so as promised in the previous video, we were talking about bullies and being picked on and being teased and how it affects us. And I was talking about my childhood and how I should have been picked on and I should have been bullied for who I was, because I was definitely different to all the other kids in so many ways, you know? And yet that never happened. It never happened to me. You know, I even have cousins that went to different schools, and they, in their adult life, have talked to me about being bullied and picked on and teased and all these things. And I think to myself, wow, because we're only a few years apart. There wasn't that much difference in our age either, but we all went to school at the same time. You know, we were all at school at the same time. So, because they all came from overseas, so by the time they arrived, they weren't born here. By the time they arrived, we were all at school, you know, at the same time. They're all older than me. So, I put it to you today of how you can turn this around. And what I always feel like, even now, I get told so often, you know, by the people around me, that I live in my own little bubble. So many people tell me that know me. You know, I live in my own little bubble, in my own little dream world, if you like, you know. Then in my first relationship, I was always getting in trouble for that. You know, that, oh, you're always with your head in the clouds. When are you going to come down? When are you going to come to earth? You know, when are you going to be realistic and live in reality? You know, like with the rest of the world. You know, this was an issue I had in my first relationship with a boy. He was always going on about how I was always airy-fairy and with my head in the clouds. And as I look at my childhood, I always feel like I had created my own little bubble. Somehow, magically. No one taught me to do that. But somehow, I had created my own little bubble, you know. It may have helped that my parents, especially my mum, was always teaching me to be different. When I was very, very young, as a toddler, we'd go out and wherever we went, I'd be imitating whoever I was with. I'd come home talking like them or making their gestures or whatever it was. And my mum would get really angry with me, you know, and stop doing that. That's so-and-so. You don't need to do that. You be you, you know, and Dad would do the same. You don't need to talk like that. You don't need to, you just be you. You know, I was always told to do that at home. You be you. And that's what I'm trying to teach you today. You may never have had someone tell you that before. To be you. You don't need to be like anyone else. You know, from so little, I was already taught this concept and I clung to it. You know, like, it's so important that I be me. And I grew up never wanting to be anyone else. This was magic to me. You know, my whole time I focused on being in this little bubble and doing the things I enjoyed doing, things I loved doing. My focus was always there. I loved reading. I loved traveling in my mind to different places with books. And that to me was an escape. I loved it. You know, I didn't have to worry about other kids, what they were doing, what they weren't doing, what, you know, the politics of it, you know, because for a little while, especially when you start in kindy and it's like, oh, new kids, you know, and all the rest of it. And I'd be around little girls and they'd all be talking about the other girls in a negative way. They'd be gossiping, what we call gossiping now, you know. And I used to think, in my mind, I didn't see the point of it. Maybe I'm just one of those kids, but I didn't see the point of criticizing other kids because they were different, because I'd already been taught you're supposed to be different. You're not supposed to be like anyone else. So I was thinking, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why is she, you know, why are you picking on her because she's different? So I didn't know how to interact with other kids at school. I just didn't. To me, they didn't make any sense. So I'd look to the grown-ups, you know, I'd look to the teachers or to grown-ups around me because I thought, well, they've got all the information, they've got all the knowledge, and I want to learn. I want to learn about the world. I want to learn how things work. You know, and these other little kids that are just talking about other kids in a negative way, they're not teaching me anything. They're not teaching me why the clouds rain, you know, or they're not teaching me why the sky's blue. And I wanted to know. I wanted to fill my head with useful things that meant something important. You know, not just, oh, she's got orange hair or ginger hair or whatever it was that made this girl different, or, oh, whatever it was. Because there was always, if you look at people, there's always going to be something different about every single one. And they're supposed to be. When none of us are meant to be the same as anyone else. And this is where the conflict builds up. And this is where all the teasing and the bullying and all that rubbish goes into the world. We're not taught that we're supposed to be different. And that's the most important thing. That our children, our young people, need to know this important truth. You are meant to be different. You always were meant to be different. And I embraced that from the very, very beginning. I embraced that idea. I'm not supposed to be the same as anyone else. And no one else is supposed to be the same as me. And that's fine. It's okay. That's how it's supposed to be. That's why we've all got different fingerprints. We've all got different eyes. No two people on earth have the same set of eyes. The patterns in the eyes are different. We're not supposed to be the same. We each have our own gifts to give to the world. And so what I put to you today, okay, I'll do it in the next video because I'm trying to keep them a little bit shorter because I can go on. I can go on with each video and then they seem to be a little bit long. But just grasp that idea. Today, I need you to create your own little bubble. And the first step to creating that bubble is to understand that you are meant to be different. You're meant to be different. Understand that today. And look around you. Look around at all the kids around you. Start to observe. And start to observe what's different about all of them. Even those cool kids that are in that group that are picking on everyone else. Start to observe them. And you'll notice even within them, there are huge differences from one to the other. Huge differences. Start to look at that today. That will help you to start to create this bubble. And then we're going to talk about more things that you can do to help you. Okay, my darlings? Remember to click like and subscribe below so you don't miss any of the messages. I love you guys. See you soon. Bye for now.